Sherdog.com here in Honolulu, Hawaii with Taylor Wiley, also known to the UFC world as Teila Tuli. And Taylor, it's been 20 years now since that night in Denver, Colorado. And what was that whole experience like for you?
It was wild. But when I look back at it now, man, it was all a blessing. It's all a blessing. I mean, whoever knew it was going to blow up like this? I think we all kind of knew. That's why we did it. That's why we risked it. Because, you know, we knew it was big time stuff. I mean, I was ready to go. I didn't know if I was going to be on a plane back to Hawaii. I mean, I really thought I was coming back the champion of the world. That was my goal, but there was some place in the back of my mind I knew, like, if something go wrong, you never know.
You had a background in sumo. What was that? What was that background?
When I was in high school, I got in some trouble. And the counselor of the high school by the name of John Jacks, he got me to go to sumo practice. So he didn't tell my mom about that trouble I got into. So I went to that sumo practice. He promised me he wouldn't tell. I went back the next day. It was a tournament. I won a case of Spam and some rice. That was it. I was into sumo. A little over 2 years I competed up there in Japan, and it was the best experience ever. There's not too much people in the history of life get to experience that world. So I'm one of the few that's got to experience that, but I learned a lot from it, you know, discipline, Japanese culture, similar to my Samoan, Hawaiian culture. So it was a good experience for me.
So there's this guy, Art Davie. How did he put the offer to you to come fight in the UFC?
Well, I believe he called John Jacks. I think they offered it to maybe some other sumo wrestlers who had excuses. So when it came up to me, you know what I mean, I thought of an excuse myself, but as a little boy, you know, anybody who thought they was a tough guy, or you watch all those movies, you know, those blood sport movies, those prison movies, you know what I mean? You always dream of being the toughest guy. And this was the opportunity to really throw your heart up there and see if he was the toughest guy in the whole world.
What was your expectation of the actual tournament when he explained it to you?
I'm always a guy prepared for the worst. And so I said I was down with it, as long as you give me enough to pay my funeral bills. I told him, man, I'm down with it, but I ain't sticking my mom with a funeral bill. That's not the last thing I'm gonna do in my life. So you give me enough to pay my funeral bill, I'm on the plane.
When you guys rolled into the hotel and they're doing this fighters rules meeting and a bunch of bickering and quarreling came up?
It was pretty much chaos. And I just remember all the managers and the fighters. I mean, it was about to go off right in there. The meeting, nobody wanted to sign the contracts. But I just remember, thinking back, I just remember everybody making excuses. And like I was saying, I expected the worst, so I was there to fight. So my brother, who I was with, he looked at me, he said, well, what you want to do? And I said, man, I just want to get out of here, because, you know, we're not the kind of fellas who sit there and talk too much. Hands will start throwing, you know, that's what we was thinking, but. And so he told me, sign the paper, let's get the hell out of here. So I signed the contract. While I was walking out, the Gracie guy, hey, Tuli, where you going? And I stopped and I looked at him, I'm going up to my room. He said, what about the contract? Because, you know, they was all arguing with him. I said, it's right there, it's signed. And then he told everybody, look at that, that's a man. I remember everybody quieted down, and I looked at him and I said, hey man, I came here to party. If anybody came here to party, I'll see you in the arena tomorrow.
What was it like for you as you got there and saw all these other guys around and start wondering, hey, who am I going to fight? What's going to happen? What was it like that time?
You was living a dream. You know, we all watch those movies, Bruce Lee movies, you know what I mean? All the fighters coming together to fight. So we knew what we was going to do, and it was living a dream. I mean, you get to look at other fighters who was willing to risk it. And it was kind of easier for me because if you looked at who I was with, I had two brothers and a cousin, two cousins. They thought my brother was the fighter. Because I was the heaviest guy out of the camp. You know, nobody else was as heavy like me. They was all slim and, you know, strong building. So they're all eyeing up my brother. But I'm eyeing them up thinking, yeah, I hope I get to you.
Gerard Gordeau was probably the second baddest guy in that tournament behind Hoist Gracie. You drew him right off the bat. What did you think when you saw him standing across the cage from you before that fight started?
I was thinking about my knees. I knew he had some wicked kicks. So I was thinking all about my knees, but yeah, he's a great fighter. But he's also a lucky fighter. I was 1 inch from tagging his chin. If I would have tagged his chin, it would have been a different game, but like I said, I paid the price.
What was it like when it was over?
Honestly, when I think back to that time, I can only think how lucky I am that my brother threw the towel in. Stopped it, because like I said, I went into there and thinking of promoting myself in the wrong way. Like, I wanted to show off. That's what I wanted to do in UFC 1. I wanted to show people I can kick with the, you know what I mean, with the best of them, but I'm happy my brother threw the towel in, because at that point, that's when I woke up and I knew, like, you know what I mean? And I don't know what I would have done. I would have took Gordeau's throat or his balls off. You know what I mean? That's where my mind was. That's when I was like, I couldn't see out of my eye. I knew my tooth was gone. You know what I mean? And I knew I was on survival mode. I was thinking, man, I gotta take his nuts out or his throat. That's what. And so I'm blessed that I had my brother there, throwing the towel in.
When you go back and, you know, maybe go back to your hotel room that night, was there any kind of regret that you did it?
Nah, I was heartbroken, man, that I wasn't bringing the title home to Hawaii.
What'd your brother say to you when you guys got back in maybe the back area of the arena, kind of realizing what happened? What was that conversation like?
When my brother went with me to the hospital, I remember the doctor telling him, it's him. You know, he was telling him, I don't want to breathe. Because I mean, I was heartbroken. I mean, I didn't want to come back. I almost didn't come back to Hawaii.
Really?
At the Denver airport, I was with my brother. Lucky my brother with me. I was going to catch a plane somewhere else. But he made me, no, we going home.
How long did it take to get over it?
As I'm sitting here speaking with you, man.
Still feel it?
Yeah. Ever since that year, I mean, wherever I've been, whatever airport I'm at, the UFC fan has been. They're always approaching me. I mean, and to tell you the truth, like the first 15 years, only these past 5 years I've been taking, you know, yeah, that's me. But before that, 15 years they've been coming up to me and I've been telling them, nah, that's my cousin. That's not me. I mean, who wants to talk about when you get beat up? Yeah, the last 5 years I've been learning to appreciate the respect, and you know, I'm very grateful for that respect, and that's why I always say that UFC fans has been the loyalist fans. I mean, they don't ever let it go, and it's that respecting, I guess it is. But for the last 5 years, I've been saying, yeah, that's me. But you know, my mind going there was just, I wanted to bring the title home. You know what I mean? Everything else don't count.
Sure.
So after that, all that didn't count to me. All I know is I went there and I didn't win, and I didn't come home with the title.
You go by Taylor Wiley now, and you know, people know you from Hawaii Five-0 for getting Sarah Marshall and these other acting gigs, but why were you billed as Teila Tuli?
I think it was art, man. Whoever was in art's camp, they didn't want me to come with such a English name. You know what I mean? So I took Taylor and spelled it the way we spell it here in Polynesia, Teila, and used my middle name, Tuli, and got rid of Wiley. But I hope this don't make those guys come hunting me for those bills, bro.
What bills?
The hospital bills right after.
Oh, no. There's a statute of limitations on that stuff. They can't get you now.
Because I remember they was trying to call me, are you Teila Tuli? No, I'm Taylor Wiley. So you know what I mean? Then I was
classic.
saying, yeah, Art, you knew what you was doing. Because I was gonna call Art, man, what the hell, man? Go pay that bill, man.